welcome. Welcome everyone to the AQE Foundations Q&A. I am so happy that you're here. Whether you're here live or you're catching the replay, it's as if we were here together because there's no time and space in the world of energy. And what is the world of energy? Everything. Everything is energy. You will hear me say this over and over and over again, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here when I say this because I know you know that. I'm setting a timer so I can keep track of my time. I haven't used this timer before. So this is the AQE Foundations Q&A. My name is Kirsten Hope. I am an Acasma Quantum Energy Facilitator, Teacher, Master Teacher, and Grandmaster Dea. So what does that mean? What it means is I work one-on-one with folks. Many of you have had sessions with me, either individually or as a group. I teach people to become facilitators, which is what we're going to talk about tonight or today, depending on your time zone. And I teach facilitators to become teachers, and I teach teachers to become Grandmaster Deas. So those are all the things that I do. But today we're talking about AQE Foundations. This is the start of where you learn how to become an Acasma Quantum Facilitator. Whether you want to learn about Acasma just to satisfy your own curiosity, whether you want to use it for yourself, you want to assist your friends and family, or you want it to come into a place of your career. Either you're starting a career or you're bringing it in to maybe a healing practice that you already have. This is what we do in AQE Foundations. It's called Foundations because everything that we do in Acasma is built on this space, on the core spaces of teaching around AQE Foundations. So I wanted to come on here. I did a Q&A. I've taught this class one time. The first time I taught it was in September. CB, who's here with us, she was one of the students and a brilliant student is that. So thank you, CB, for being here. I have a couple of other students former students that might also come on. One of them just texted me today and was like, I'm going to be there, but I'll be there late. So we'll see. And then I also want to give a shout out, not only to you who are here live, but to those of you who reached out via email and sent me your questions and said, hey, I can't be there that day, but this is what I'm wondering. And so I want to address some of those questions as well. So before we do, I'd like to take a minute to just connect in, like you connect in with you. When I do these Q&As and when I teach classes, the energy gets so high. It's like all day long, it's just building and it's building and it's building. And you might be able to hear that in my voice. It's a little bit constricted. And that's just the way that my body processes energy. So you can have your eyes open or closed and you can breathe into the space of you. Because a lot of times when we take webinars or classes or we watch something online, we're so focused on what that other person is saying. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I invite you to also stay connected to you through this entire space. We've got an entire hour together. You can stay for the whole thing. If you need to leave early, I totally understand. We'll get through all the questions. And then if we have time, we'll also be facilitating some Acasma Quantum Energy Healing as well. So breathe in. And as you exhale, allow your body to drop. You'll hear me slide into sacred sound or light language. That's the way my body runs energy. And if you're unfamiliar with light language, it is a higher dimensional space of conveyance. Light language, in the way that I manifest it, is not translatable. But what it does is it carries with it a frequency that moves beyond our conscious mind, that moves beyond our conscious understanding, and vibrates and the frequency is beyond our spoken word. Kokoye se ine ikaro oa of language. Koreseya. So breathe and allow this space. And this is the first time I'm saying this here, but if you decide you want to take the class, you'll be hearing me say this a lot, which is you get to interact, and I invite you and encourage you to interact with this space the way you want to. You can have your camera on or off, it doesn't matter. I love seeing your face. You can be super participatory or you can just observe. Everybody is welcome. Because we meet you exactly where you are, and this is adult learning. Te ikoroso. We're on an even playing field. And everybody and every experience has value. Te se ikoroso. And when you feel ready to come back and open your eyes, you're welcome to do that. So I do have, let me check the chat. Okay, thank you. I saw that. Thank you. Before I go into my questions, I want to start with one question first, and then I want to open it up to you all. You can ask a question in the chat. You can type it in there. Excuse me. You can type your question into the chat, or you can come on screen. Either way you want to do that is just fine. But the first question I want to answer is, what is Acasma? Because without knowing the answer to that question, what are we doing here, right? So Acasma Quantum Energy is an ancient and future healing modality here to assist humanity. So what does that mean? Ancient means that we have walked this earth, we have walked other planets, we have been interdimensional in many and other lifetimes. And Acasma Quantum Energy is a space of that. So a large part of what we do in AQE Foundations is reconnect you and your knowing to the spaces of you that you've walked before. And these are going to be different for you than they are for me. And we allow space for that. The future part of the modality is you're also working with higher dimensional technologies. We teach higher dimensional technologies in AQE Foundations. And also, what I have experienced, and many of my students have experienced, is their own higher dimensional technologies come in. So it's just this like experience of popcorn popping. And we never know what's going to pop for people. People come in, they don't speak light language at the beginning, and by the end they do. Some people come in speaking light language, and then it changes and evolves, or it anchors more deeply. Some people start writing poetry. Some people start doing art. Some people, other dimensional spaces come in. So we don't ever box it in. One of the things you may or may not know about me is I was a professional healer for over 20 years before I started working with Acasma Quantum Energy. And I worked with two main modalities. One is called Body Talk and one is called the Quick Pulse. And I love those modalities. There's so many beautiful modalities out here and out there and within here. And they're all magnificent. It's really about finding the one that resonates or the multiple that resonate with you. But with the modalities that I practiced before, there was always a really hard line and a set of rules. And I liked that. I pushed against it because I was a little bit rebellious, but I also liked it because there was this comfort in somebody telling me what to do and how to do it. And while there is a space of that in AQE Foundations, we definitely teach you how to facilitate AQE sessions. We teach you how to do it in all the different spaces and course spaces. We facilitate sessions together throughout the space of the class. But it also doesn't box you in. So if you're a person who really likes rules and a person who likes do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, there is space for that. And if you're somebody who likes to just kind of fly by the seat of your pants and see what comes up and get super quantum, there's a space for that too. And I think that's really incredible. The reason that we're able to do that with Acasma Quantum Energy is we always are coming from what's right. As teachers, as facilitators, we're always looking at our students, we're always looking at our clients through the lens of what is right. And that's a real mind shift from what we're typically taught culturally, especially when it comes to healing. A lot of modalities, and I'm not dissing them at all because everything has its time and place. For example, if I break my leg and I go to my doctor, I want him to look at my bones and find the one that's broken. I don't want him to say, well, 99.9% of your bones are great, so you're good to go, right? There's always a place for everything. This is what I'm saying. We're always looking for what's right. Hi, Bonnie. It's good to see you. And so with Acasma, when we are looking for what's right, as we expand that space, it allows the other spaces for what's right to grow and blossom. And anything that doesn't vibrate at that same frequency begins to fall away. Old fears, old ways of being, old physical, physiological patterns. So it is okay to look for what's wrong in certain circumstances. That's just simply not what we do with Acasma. And neither one is right or wrong. But I'm telling you from a practitioner standpoint, the absolute joy and freedom it is to facilitate a session and tell somebody all the things that are right. Because so many people are used to hearing about all the things that are wrong. And since I've been practicing Acasma, I have more testimonials, more quantifiable results, more everything since I've been practicing this modality. And I couldn't ignore that. Like, I didn't start Acasma being like, I'm not going to do all that other stuff. It was so fun and it was so easy and it was so welcoming and it was so safe and it was so positive. And there wasn't ego and there wasn't people, it was just a really, really expansive space, not only in facilitating sessions, but the other facilitators and teachers I met. They're the most positive, loving people I've ever been around. And it's just incredible. And when you are a facilitator, or even when you receive a session, you get to be that space for someone else or for yourself. And that's a pretty magnificent thing. So Acasma Quantum Energy, it is a specific frequency that you are attuned to and then taught to work with, either for yourself or for others. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I want to thank you all so much for being here and even having your cameras on because you're so beautiful and I just love seeing all of your faces. So I've answered the core question, what is Acasma? And I do, like I said, I've got some questions from others that have come in, but I want to know from you, does anybody have any questions that they want to ask? You can just raise your hand. I'm just going to set something up so I don't get lost in the shuffle here. Okay. All right, any questions? Okay. So one of the questions that I hear a lot is, once I start talking about Acasma is, how is it different from what I know? What I've been taught, I'm not speaking from my point of view, this is from somebody else's point of view. A lot of them, they'll say, I do XYZ, I learned XYZ, or I kind of work with energy already, so how is what you do different? And it's a hard question to answer because I don't know every modality. I can tell you how Acasma is different from the modalities that I know, but I can't speak to every modality. But what I can tell you is one of the places of Acasma that when I was taking my Grandmaster day evaluation, one of the things that Andrea asked me, A.L. Garris is the founder of Acasma, and one of the things she said is, what is your favorite core space of Acasma? And I'm like, I I can't say that because I love them all. But one of the spaces that is really important with the Acasma that we do is that we reconnect our clients to the Earth's energy from an energetic standpoint. And it's not actually us, it's the energy that does it. And what I have seen happen as a result of that is that people hold the shifts. And if they don't hold them, they hold them longer, way longer. When I was practicing other modalities, I would run a session for somebody. And then, they would book a session the next week or the following week or the following week. And they're like, oh, it's back again. And as a practitioner, I got super frustrated with that. And I kept thinking, oh, what's wrong with me? And, all of this, you probably have done that before. And I've noticed with the Acasma, that doesn't happen. And the reason that doesn't happen is because when we work with this core space, it's called a root reconnection. When we work with that core space of Acasma, and it's something that you're attuned to as a facilitator, it allows the body to hold more light. Why is that important? It's important because holding more light means that the body is running at a faster frequency or higher frequency. I don't like to use the word higher because it sounds really judgy, and there's no judgment here. But as your body holds more light, anything that is incongruent with that light falls away. Things like contracted responses, fears, self-worth blossoms, lack of confidence drops. Running into and moving into spaces of confidence without trying. It's almost like you look in your rearview mirror and you're like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. It's not something that you try to do. It's not like, okay, I'm going to respond to this differently, or I can do this. And it's so much less effortful and so much more serendipitous, where you look back and you're like, I felt something change, or I recognize change in me. And this is what happens for my clients and my students, is that they're shifting and changing and they don't even realize it. And I'm telling you what, I'm an inherently sort of lazy person. I mean, I like to be busy, but I also like to choose what I do. And a lot of times that involves baths. And so I'm always going to take the easy way out. And that's what I love about Acasma, is it is much more less about doing it right, remembering and thinking and getting your lists out, and so much more about presence. So with that said, does anybody have anything they want to say or share or ask? Just go like this. Sabina, let me get you on screen. Hold on a second. Okay. You're muted.
Yes.
There we go.
I really don't have any questions because I decided after I didn't really know what to do with Acasma, that I decided I'm just going to come as a completely clean slate. And all I know is that the 3 sessions that I had with you, that they did something, and that something shifted. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's why I don't have any questions. And for the next,
I love it. But thank you so much for sharing that. It's a really important statement, because what I love about what you share is that you said something has shifted. It wasn't like this one thing or that one thing. It was more global than that. It was more systemic than that. It was more of I'm a new space of myself now. And that's not something most people are coming in for. They're usually like, can you fix my left knee or my relationship with this person or whatever? And those are valid spaces, and we definitely address those with the Acasma. And it's more than that. And that is the ascension process. That's
Mhm.
what you're speaking to,
Yeah.
is that it's great to fix the problems. It's great to address the discomforts in our lives. But if we don't shift how we interact with the space of us, and that includes our environment, we're going to keep recreating those spaces. So we do
Yes.
have to shift how we are in the space. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like, to me it was like a rocket booster.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Anything else you'd like to say or share or ask?
No, not right now. Maybe I'll come back later.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I'm going to unspotlight you. There we go. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I do want to say that the Acasma came into the consciousness of humanity in 2020 through A.L. Garris. And A.L. Garris is my mentor. She's my teacher. I worked with her one on one. And she wrote a book, AQE Foundations. You can find it on Amazon. Some of you have it. And so you can learn all about Acasma just by reading the book. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of secrets the in the course, but there's so much support. There's so much expansion. And in order to be a facilitator, you have to be attuned. You get to be attuned to the actual energy, the Acasma Quantum Energy frequency that happens only in AQE Foundations. The class is taught over 9 weeks. It starts next Thursday, the 25th at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. I know you're in various time zones, so you can figure out what that is for you. I've got some links on my website to help you with that. We meet once a week. And last time I taught it, I thought classes were going to be about an hour. Well, some were, many weren't. So the biggest point of feedback that I got from my students was that they wanted more space, that they felt a little bit rushed in that class space. So this time the classes are set for 90 minutes. We might not go 90 minutes. Some weeks we might not. But we want to make sure there's time for everybody's questions. There's time for us to breathe, and there's time for us to cover the topic for that week. Okay, so the classes will range anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes. I have a lot of people who are unable to make all of the classes. I have some people that take the whole class via video. That's a valid way to take AQE Foundations. So we meet on Thursday, and then at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and then 2 hours later, I facilitate a group session for all the students that includes an attunement to Acasma Quantum Energy. So as a student, you can lie down at that specific time to receive the energy healing, or you can tune in anytime before the next class. You don't have to do it at the exact same time I'm facilitating the session, because everything is energy and there's no boundaries within the time and space continuum. So you can tap into that session anytime it's convenient for you. Okay, so we have the class space, which is one-on-one like this via Zoom. We have the C to C space. C to C means consciousness to consciousness. It's another word for a remote or distance healing. I just saw light being float through the space. They love to show up in these spaces. Welcome. In addition to the class space and the C to C space, you will also receive an attuning video. And that comes out every week. So we have class space, the C to C, which is distance healing, and then an attuning video. And the attuning videos, they range anywhere between 10 and maybe 15 minutes. It's a link, you just click it. It's a YouTube video, and that's an additional space of attuning and healing. Not all teachers include that. I do, because I love it, and it's so powerful. Tokore ese te ni io koa. The other part of the class space to be aware of is there is some reading, but there's not a lot. There are 3 PDFs associated with and included within AQE Foundations. When you sign up, you get access to the portal, a student portal, a week prior to the class space, and it has all the PDFs in it. If you have the book, you don't necessarily need the PDF, but the PDF is a condensed version. So you don't have to have the book. Everything is included within the class space. There's replays of everything, so you can interact with the space as much as you want. I had a lot of students last time that really enjoyed going back and re-listening or re-watching the class spaces. And that what's really important about that is you are always evolving, incrementally so. You are a new space of you now than you were a half an hour ago, a day ago, a week ago, a year ago, a month ago. Different space. You've shifted and you've changed. And so when you interact with that class space again, you take it in a different way. You take it in at a deeper level, or the session notes, or the tuning video, or even rereading the PDF. I can still pick up the PDF. And I have gone over that thing with, I swear, I think I've memorized it. And I can still go back and read it and go, oh, was that in there before? Or it will land differently. I'll understand it more. So there's so much space for movement around this class. And the other thing I want to tell you is that the student portal stays open. So if something comes up in life and you can't complete the course, it starts the 25th and it ends March 21st. If you can't complete it, if you can't attend all the classes for whatever reason, you can come back and visit those class spaces whenever you want. So everybody here who took AQE Foundations in the fall, they can go back and watch those classes as often as they want for as long as they want. And in addition to that, once you've completed the course, you can take the course again for free. So for example, I mentioned CB is here. She took the class in the fall and she's asked to take it again. Great. Wonderful. And she is there just like any other student. And speaking of students, I want to touch on one of the things that Sabina said, which was she decided to come in fresh. And Sabina, thank you so much. I bow to you and I honor you for saying that, because it's such an important place. Whether you're taking AQE Foundations again, or you're coming into AQE Foundations new, but you have experiences with energy healing, or you've had sessions from another practitioner or me or anybody else, or maybe you are, a teacher of some other modality, however you find yourself. When you come in with new eyes, when you come in like as if you don't know anything, you get so much more out of the class. And I say this because when I came in, I was pretty jaded. And I thought I knew a lot. And I kind of would be like, well, I've been an energy healer for 20 years. I was really kind of full of myself, actually, in retrospect. And I decided at the very beginning, I started the class late. I started the class 2 weeks after it already started. I had never had an Acasma Quantum Energy session. I came in blind. I didn't have the book. I didn't have anything. But I came in and I thought to myself, if this is good, if I'm really going to get as much out of it as I think is here for me, I am not going to run that timeline of being jaded. I'm going to step onto the timeline of knowing nothing, of being a brand new person, as if I'm hearing all of these concepts and theories and ideas for the very first time. And when I did that, it was like all of my walls came down. All of my expectations about myself, about others, all of my hang-ups, everything, they just fell away. And when all of that fell away, it allowed that quantum energy come in full throttle. And it was beautiful and it was gentle and it was expanding. So I've talked about the course space. I've talked about what Acasma is, how it came in, etc. I want to stop here and pause. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to bring into the space? Let me check the chat. Hold on. Oh yes, Imogene said she saw one earlier and it took you by surprise. The light beans, yes? Yes. Light beans, they love to come in. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, they're orbs. They look like white circles. Sometimes they're various colored. They can be really big. They can be really small. Sometimes they look like dust particles. And those are light beans in the space. And they're here with the greatest degree of love and support and expansion. Any other questions? Bonnie, let me bring you on screen. Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead and talk. I'm not hearing you. Hold on. It doesn't look like you're muted. Hold on. Okay, now try. No, I can't hear you. I know we've had this before, but I'm not sure why. Okay. Okay, I'm going to remove your spotlight for now. Okay. Tell me when you're ready. Okay, so while she's doing that, let me take a look over my notes. All right, one of the things I want to address is the safety of Acasma Quantum Energy. So there are times where we can get worried or concerned that what we're doing is going to mess something up that we're already doing. So questions that I get from people is, I'm already doing this, or I've got surgery scheduled, or I'm seeing a counselor, or I'm seeing an acupuncturist, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And is this going to get in the way of that? And the answer is no. Acasma is 100%, 111%, 1,111% safe because it's always rooted in love. Always rooted in love. And in addition to that, we never are pushing upon another person any agenda or any healing. As facilitators, we float that energy right in front of our client. And it is up to their higher self, their quantum self, and their high heart as to whether they receive that or not. It's not conscious. And this works whether somebody knows they're receiving a session or not. So a lot of times people will ask me to do sessions for somebody that they love, or their child, or their husband, or their grandpa, or somebody in a coma. I've worked with people in surgeries and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, well, they don't really believe in this stuff. And I don't and I'm like, it's fine. Like their higher self, their high conscious knows what's happening. And anything that's in their highest and greatest good, they will receive at the level in which they're ready for. And I've got a multitude of examples of people who have shifted. Situations have shifted. They've calmed down. They've reconfigured themselves after receiving Acasma, where the people had no idea what was happening. And it's not sneaky. It's not sneaky at all. But we always respect every person's sovereignty and agency to decide whatever they want for themselves. So I have no hiccup in my system. It is inside my integrity to facilitate sessions for anyone, anytime, no matter what, because I know that I'm not doing anything to them. As a facilitator, you're not doing anything to somebody. You are a bridge and you are assisting. And then they decide how and when they're going to receive that. And again, it's not conscious, although having conscious participation is helpful and it's interesting. So let me check the chat. Thank you all so much. So Imogene said, how is it made possible for students in all different financial situations that really want to participate in AQE Foundations? Great question. So For me, I offer payment plans for anybody who wants them. Um, I've reduced the price down as much as I can while still honoring the time and space that it takes to become a teacher and do all the things that involve that. And in addition to that, we also offer so many free resources through Acasma Quantum Energy and through the Acasma Quantum family. So this doesn't speak specifically to the Foundations course, and we have the Acasma Grid Space, which is a free space. We have Acasma Pods, which is free. There is A.L. Garris has a YouTube channel that's got tons and tons of energy healing on it. So as far as, and then every once in a while there will be giveaways that sometimes include spaces of the class. So that's a great question. Thank you so much for bringing it. Bonnie, do you think you have your microphone? Bonnie, okay. She said, I have an issue on my end with my microphone. I wanted to attest the amazing support you will receive in the course from Kirsten. Thank you. I am back here at a graduate of the fall course. I missed Kirsten's support and love it, so I hopped on the call today. Wait till you read the session notes. You will feel so seen and heard. Yeah, the session notes. So what she's talking about, Bonnie, thank you so much for your kind words. What are the session notes? So when I facilitate a session, either for an individual or a group, I take notes on everything that happened during that session space. And when you are a client, I send those notes to you, just like I'm reading them. With the AQE Foundations students, I bring in healing music with it as well. So it's a beautiful marriage of high dimensional spaces and music, as well as the session notes. They're very meditative, they're very healing, they're very nourishing. I know some people listen to them when they go to bed or when they've had a bad day and they feel like they need to reset themselves. And you also learn how to give yourself self sessions when you become a facilitator. So one of the core places that we start with in Acasma is how to facilitate a session for yourself. You're going to be attuned to the Acasma energy at the end of the first day of the class. That happens on day 1. The class is broken up into 3 parts. So it's a 9-week course. The first 3 classes are all around self-love and self-trust. Classes 4, 5, and 6 are centered around supporting and assisting you in releasing fears, known and unknown to you. And then the last 3, 7, 8, and 9. So the first 3 is where you learn how to do a self-session. The second 3 is when you learn how to facilitate sessions for other people. And we do this in class. We do it in class. And then the last part is where we deepen our understanding of Acasma. So it's a really robust space and curriculum. Oh, Imogene said your music is quite comforting with your voice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Imogene is, you're in my sacred joy pod. I interact with you in a lot of different spaces, but and that space also has a free C2C space every month. So let me look at my notes. And while I'm doing that, does anybody have any questions or comments? Just raise your hand. Okay. Let me check here. All right. One of the questions that I've had is, I talked about a part of this space, which is people who come into AQE Foundations with an experience of being a practitioner of some sort. But then there's the other side of this, people who've never been trained in a healing modality, or maybe never even received energy healing. And their questions are like, is this too much for me? I'm totally new. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done anything like this before. And I have to tell you that with AQE Foundations, it meets everybody exactly where they are. 100%. You don't have to have any experience as an energy healer or any experience with energy healing to learn Acasma Quantum Energy. It is an impartation. It is an attunement to the energy. And once you've been attuned to the energy, you're taught how to facilitate with it, and you have it for the rest of your life. So if you took the class And then you never did anything with it. And then 10 years from now, you wake up and you're like, oh, I took that one class and you followed the protocol, you would be able to facilitate sessions, even if you haven't done anything with it for 10 years. It is in your energy body as your higher self receives it. So it's an impartation. And again, once it's in your field, it's in your field. And then you just work with it. How are we doing on time? Beautiful. So I want to check in and see if there are any more questions. And while you are considering that, let's see here. I think those are all of my main questions. Does anybody else have anything else that they would like to ask? Okay. So with that said, let's move into some energy work. How does that sound? Let me just close the chat real quick. You can have your camera on or off for this part. It's totally up to you. Connect with your breath. Breathe into the space of you. Beautiful. One of the ways that you can encourage your body to drop is to pay attention to your diaphragm, your stomach area, and let it soften and relax. As it softens and relaxes, feel that energy flow down through your sacral and your root center. And as your diaphragm relaxes, allow your throat to relax and soften. Beautiful. And we'll just be quiet here for a moment as I connect in with the spaces of you. And this is for everybody here and for anybody watching the replay. The energy here is alive and active. There's been clearing happening the entire time we've been speaking. There's been an activation of remembrance to your heart space. And I feel like, and what I'm seeing is that this was very important after the holidays. Whether you actively participate in the holidays or not. Many of you are coming back to the routines of you. Many of you are remembering the spaces of you that got left by the wayside in the busyness of the holidays. There's balancing happening to the right and the left side of the cortices. We're balancing the masculine and the feminine energies. For anybody who tends to reside in one space, you're very left-brained or you're very right-brained, there's nothing wrong with that. And we want to be able to utilize both sides of our brain. So here is assisting that congruence, that masculine and feminine congruence. All the spaces you're seeing and feeling me facilitate are available to you as an Acasma Quantum facilitator. These are the spaces you're invited to facilitate for yourself and others. Your hand portals are activating. You might be noticing your hands are beginning to pulsate or feel hot or cold. You might feel nothing at all. But from where I can see, your hands are glowing. In fact, it looks like we're all wearing Mickey Mouse gloves. If you've seen Mickey Mouse, with his little black arms and his big white gloves. And those gloves, they glow. Kene ekore se ya to moko ya ise. Beautiful. And if you didn't feel anything at all, or you don't notice anything in your hands, that's okay. It's still happening. Sote neakare sete eakukoyatea. There might be a situation for some or one of you, a situation that feels daunting or contracted or glitchy. And if you have that happening in your life, go ahead and bring that to mind now, and we're going to bring some specific healing to that space. Kore ikane ikoro sokokoyatea meakate nuakua. Beautiful. I'm seeing it washed in the colors of the rainbow. I see red and orange and yellow and green and blue and dark blue and violet. Kere ia torokoatea. The Acasma Pyramid has come in and floated over that space of contraction, with you and for you. You learn more about the Acasma Pyramid in AQE Foundations Course. And I see each of you here. You've got this higher dimensional space of what looks like a visor. Like a half of a hat, a visor that comes out over your forehead here. And as you look at that space that you brought to mind, if you did, the visor is lifting up to allow you to see it from the higher dimensional spaces of you. Because when we wear a visor like this, while it might keep the sun out of our eyes, it also limits our perspective of the higher dimensional spaces of us. And so as that lifted, your perspectives of that space have shifted. That's done. It's one thing for that space to shift and transmute. It's another level to be able to see, feel, and experience that change. Beautiful. There's clearing happening through the right side of the cheek and the mouth. There's some dental work that somebody's having done or has had done through the right side of the teeth and the gums. That is receiving healing and assistance. Inflammation of the intestines and the appendix is being addressed, released, and healed. I'm seeing the lining of the intestines all plump and juicy. And I'm seeing the cells, the little cilia that are inside of the intestines, the very tips of those that go like this, the very tips of those have little, they look like stars, sparks of light, raising the frequency of your digestive tract. And what's really interesting about that, and keep this in mind, I lay this at your feet, that the consciousness of the digestive system, not only is it about what you eat, what you take into your body, not just what you eat, we take so many things into our body, yes? But it also carries the consciousness of how we digest life. That was also being recalibrated to the light. And as we finish, we complete with a root reconnection. And the root reconnection, I spoke about this earlier, is such a beautiful space. And you can imagine it with me if you'd like. Imagine your root center down at the base of your spine. It is being blessed. Your light teams are surrounding each of you in a big circle. Lots and lots of higher dimensional spaces around you and beings around you. And they are blessing and they are bowing at your feet and blessing that root chakra as that root chakra lights up with a golden white light. And that golden white light travels down through your hips, through your legs, through your knees, through your calves, your shins, your ankles, your feet. So breathe and allow, please. Breathe and allow. The beauty is there's nothing for you to do. You can't do it wrong. You can only do this right. Can you allow the possibility that everything is working out in your favor? And that light travels from your feet down through all the various layers of the earth's crust, the mantle, the mycelium, the aquifers, the crystal caves, all the way deep into the core of the earth. And as those root lines draw and connect in with that earth's energy draws up through your root lines, up through your feet, all the way up, illuminating your light shaft. Isn't that brilliant? It is gorgeous. Allow that space to be. And as you do, it allows your body to hold more light. I'm hearing yodeling. Do you know what yodeling is? Yodeling. I'm not a singer. I'm hearing yodeling. And it's this beautiful dance, and I'm covered in goosebumps as I share this with you. This yodeling, it's a playful yodeling. And it's almost what I see happening is you are playing with the quantum spaces of you. It is a looking for and inviting in the echoes of your future selves. Calling to and inviting in the soul spaces of you from the loved and healed spaces that they desire. Breathe and allow your belly to stay soft and relaxed. Beautiful. Low back is receiving healing density released through the SI joint. For anyone who has a cervix, that cervix is being addressed, density released, consciousness of the feminine releasing old ways of being. And this is for anybody, actually, as I move in deeper. Because no matter what your body looks like, whatever body you were born with, whatever body you have, everybody has the energetic blueprint of a cervix. Male, female, anything in between, whether you've had it surgically removed or not, doesn't matter. The blueprint is there. And it is this portal to your divine feminine. Again, this has nothing to do with gender. It is consciousness. And it was almost like that cervix was wrapped up in this package. And it's being unwrapped with so much excitement and joy and love and wonder. I keep hearing this phrase, I get to be here, I get to be here, I get to be here. And I hear, I am here. I am here. I am here. I am. What an important remembrance that is. The places of the feminine consciousness that have been tucked away for whatever reason, coming back online. In the balance with the masculine. One is not better than the other. We have to remember. While the external world wants us to live in a space of duality and competition, we rise above that. We are all spaces. And it is in the celebration of all the spaces of us where magic abounds, where optimal health is accessible, abundance and love. Creativity. Breathe and allow, please. Take a breath, connect in. And we seal this session space in alignment with the highest degree of love and joy and rebirth. We thank our teams of light. I thank your teams of light, my teams of light. I thank the Acasma team of light for being here and assisting all the spaces of us. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back onto the call if you'd like. Beautiful. It was a really fun space to facilitate. I could feel your energy in my heart space. I know you felt your energy in your heart space. Felt that expansion. It's like a geyser, right? That energy as that light shaft comes in and that energy comes up. Does anybody have any questions? Let me check the chat here real quick. Imogene said, it's like your face starting coming through when you said that. Quite interesting. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anything anybody wants to say or share before we close out this space? Okay. The Q&As tend to be a quiet space. Everybody, you're just kind of taking it in. And that's invited and welcomed. You know, we're taught to think like, I should have questions. I'm thinking about taking this class. I should ask questions. Or I took the class. I should be contributing. And honestly, it is okay to be you. Exactly where you are in this now moment. I'm not going anywhere. You can email me questions. You can write questions in the comments of the video once it's posted. I'll be sending a replay out. Imogene said, maybe that was the confirmation of my attendance to your course. Yeah, maybe. I love that perspective. So I will send a replay out to everybody. If you have any questions that come up after the class or after we close this space, feel free to email them to me. I'm really looking forward to AQE Foundations. I look back on the last 20 plus years of practicing energy healing, and this hands down is my favorite thing ever. Like my favorite thing ever. It is so fun. And we have a great time. And people make really beautiful connections. We also have, I wanted to share, I haven't mentioned this, is we have a community chat space. So there is a space to ask questions about what we've been talking about, or anything else for that matter, that you can bring into the space. And I check that every day. Sometimes former students will come in and answer questions, or I'll answer your questions. So when you have that class space on Thursday, there's a whole nother week of interactions with people telling stories. And oh my gosh, look at this happen. And what about this? And I don't understand this. And so you have access to me. It's through an app called Discord. It's a free app. And it's outside of the Facebook realm, so it's a pretty protected space. And the only people invited into that space are AQE students, former and present. So you're in good hands, but it's a really great place to make connections with like-minded people because there's a lot of people that come into this space. I'm one of them that don't have very many people or any who know this stuff or believe in this stuff, who don't think they're crazy, right? Who are like, yeah, I get that, right? And so it's a really fun place to be uninhibited in your understanding of the quantum spaces of you. So, with that said, I love you all. That's my alarm. Thank you, alarm. That was pretty good timing. I love you all dearly. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing yourself with me and with each other. One more thing. I'm going to talk about this for just 1 second, so hang tight. One of the things about Acasma Quantum Energy is that it does not mix energies with your clients. This is important to understand. So when you are facilitating a session, you're not mixing energy. You're not going into the quantum spaces of that other person. You are always in an observation mode. So that's one of the questions I get, especially from people who have a really strong experience of being an empath, is how to navigate that space. And so Acasma Quantum Energy does not blend energies. Just so I want to be clear about that. And so what reminded me of that is that when we're facilitating group sessions, it is the same thing. We're not mixing energies. Your energy is your energy. Now, if you have a belief system or experience that is difficult for you to believe that, that's a fair space. We move through that space. That is okay. I'm never going to deny anybody's experience or make it wrong. What would be the point of that? We move through everything with love. We all have spaces that we're growing through. We all have belief systems or repetitive patterns, myself included, right? I'm not perfect. I'd never say I'm perfect. I have spaces in my life, I'm like, how come that is not shifting yet? Come on now, right? Acasma. And we meet it with love and gentleness and trust and know that every time a repetitive space comes back into us, it is an echo of a previous space that we have been. And as those echoes come through and we don't grab them and hold on to them and to put a big story around them, over-identify, they become less and less and less as time goes on. Some spaces move quickly, instantaneously, and other spaces take time, and that's okay. I got a little bug right here. So that was one last piece I'd forgotten to mention that I think is an important place to go and understand. Any questions before we sign off? I want to thank you all so much. Everybody here, so beautiful. Everybody watching the replay, so beautiful. And I know that, and I say that because I see you. I see you, I see you, I see you. Thank you for being here. I love you all dearly. If you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. And we will connect in soon. Perfect. Wonderful. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.